Up next, we have a panel, which I'm going to moderate as best I can. And I just want to, we started putting together a panel, and it's really difficult for cross-media, because at the moment in the cross-media world, there aren't that many examples of people that are actually doing cross-media. There's lots out there, and I find a new one every single day. But what we thought we would start doing with cross-media overall in New York and in Toronto is that we would start to bring together the silos and talk and have discussions and determine how we could possibly work together across those silos. So for the takeaways when we had our call, we looked at what would people take away from this in terms of how to work together. So I'm just going to do a quick introduction down the row here. Representing sort of the motion area. As I told you before, we have 5 areas. So it's motion, mobile, marketing, publishing, and gaming. Representing motion is Chris Van Noy. He's the Chief Strategist for Akamai, and he's going to tell you actually what Akamai is at some point. So a lot of people are like, okay, I'm confused. Is that a samurai sword? No. Mobile, we have Pete Watson, who drove 3 hours to get here. Pete, he was late. You probably just saw him one in, and we were like, where are you? It took 3 hours to get. Were you coming from Waterloo?
Further, actually. I was coming from Stratford.
Are you coming from Stratford? So,
it shouldn't have taken 3 hours. It should have taken 90 minutes.
It should have taken. So Pete Watson is the Senior Business Development Manager for Consumer Products at Research in Motion, which is RIM Blackberry. Beside him, representing marketing, and you may feel this is a little weird to have Google on the panel representing marketing, but I think that once Sabrina sort of gives you an outline of what she's doing and who she's working with, you'll get a good idea as to why we asked her to be here, and she graciously accepted. So Sabrina Jeremiah, she's the head of agency relations for Google Canada. On the publishing side, we've got Lisa Charters, the SVP Director of Digital for Random House of Canada. And then for gaming, we've got Michael Schmaltz, from the president of Digital Extremes, representing gaming. So we're looking forward to a really great panel, lots of discussion. We have 45 minutes, and they always seem to go really quickly. So I want to start this off really just by asking a few questions. And the first one is that I think I'm actually going to direct it to Chris and say, just what the hell is Akamai?
Akamai is the biggest content distribution network. So basically what we do is we solve the problem of the large congestion between the middle mile. So between like the large content producers and the last mile between the actual audience. A lot there is between the actual public network was never actually made for large content distribution or large content viewing. So what we've done is we've distributed 70,000 servers around the world with a unique network and algorithm to be able to optimize, secure, and deliver all types of content. So we deliver roughly about 30% of the world's internet. On a very a personal example, if somebody from Toronto actually went to typed in yahoo.com, they wouldn't go to Yahoo servers in Sunnyvale. They go to one of our servers right around here, probably in Toronto. If that makes sense.
Great, thanks very much. I'm going to jump over to Sabrina. Sabrina, can you just talk a little bit about how your clients are tackling cross-media and what you're sort of doing to help them, or how Google's doing that?
Okay, sure. So Sabrina Jeremiah, head of agency relations. So we work with advertising agencies in Canada, the creative side and the media side, and all of their clients. And I guess cross-media from a marketing perspective is integrated communications, which I don't think I've seen a campaign in the past 7 years, I'd say, that doesn't have that element and aspect to it. So what we do is just try to keep the agencies in advance of just all the technology, the innovation that we're rolling out, our tools, our products, et cetera, to help them build smart cross-media campaigns and to measure them. So Google, as you know, search we're pretty well known for. 28%, this is a third-party stat, but 28% of internet time is actually spent simultaneously on TV. So search is a really fascinating way to gauge response of TV ads. And that's one of many examples. We can talk about YouTube and mobile and display advertising, but all sorts of ways that what we do can either build an integrated campaign or help measure one that's actually going on.
And I just want to jump quite quickly into the Old Spice campaign. I have actually, let me see if I can get it up.
How many of you have seen Old Spice?
Yeah,
love it, right?
How many people, wait a minute. How many people have not seen Old Spice?
Okay.
Nice to admit it.
So,
really, you haven't seen the Old Spice campaign?
So this is like the moment du jour of
Sabrina's like, I don't care.
the hot campaign. So can we flip it up for a sec? Or?
Yeah, here it is.
Yeah. So if we could just put up the YouTube first. So this was a campaign that started quite a while ago, early this year, and it's the Old Spice man, and he's this cheesy guy who's like really cool, and it's this fantastic ad. They actually started it on TV. They had a YouTube channel. They did a bunch of advertising with us on the homepage, etc. And it began to evolve. If we could go to the YouTube channel, if it's up there, I don't know if it's youtube.com/Old Spice. Okay. Yeah. And then what ended up happening is just recently they took it to the next level. The Old Spice guys started responding in video to celebrity bloggers, to Demi Moore, to Ashton Kutcher, going out there like to Alyssa Milano saying, like, giving her flowers, and he's this cheesy guy who really wants to kind of date her. And this all of a sudden sparked this conversation. So there's been over 180 people who have responded with their own videos on YouTube. There's been about 8 to 10 of these video responses that happen simultaneously, that he goes and responds to people and creates these conversations. And if you scroll down, there's over 100 million video views of this. There's over 9 million people just on the channel itself. It's absolutely off the rocks, like off the charts. If you look at the Ad Age top viral ads, 4 out of the top 10 of them right now are from this one campaign. And if we flip back quickly to the search results that we were looking at a second, this is just Google Insights for search. This measures in an index fashion the traffic of what people are looking for, and what you can see is just an absolutely massive spike for Old Spice, which, by the way, I used to work for Procter & Gamble. This was never a top brand that you know what I mean? When you were the Old Spice brand manager, you didn't have budget. Like, you did not have a lot to play with. And this is probably the sexiest campaign that I think everybody is talking about at the moment, and it's entirely cross-media.
It's enormous ROI there.
Lisa, I'd just like to jump over to what you guys are doing at Random House. Did you want to just give an overview of how you guys are approaching this?
So I would say that most of you have heard of the Amazon Kindle. Anyone? Anyone? Put hands up for those who have heard of the Amazon Kindle. Yeah. So in about a year ago, our world's changed in the world of book publishing, and that not only was because ebooks became accessible and portable really quickly, any time of the day, any minute of the day, but mostly because in the last 6 months it's become a color experience, and with things like the iPad, we now are into the world of multimedia ebooks. Enhanced ebook is the term we're using. So we've been finding that we're all full of ideas. There's not a day that doesn't go by without us having an internal conversation about what we could do with a particular book project, to either break it up and to add stuff to it, or to add video, to add audio. Almost every one of the projects we've got going forward has the audio being completely meshed in with the book, so that you could switch at any point from listening to reading, and then adding in a video clip to hear the author explain why they wrote that chapter in that particular way. So the number of cross-media opportunities and things that are activity that's happening in book publishing has been explosive in the last 6 months.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the app, the lounge?
Sure. So one of the things as well is that we've been experiencing that, our consumers want to interact with our content, but they don't just want a standard website. So we've been repurposing our content and optimizing it, of course, naturally for the mobile space. This is an app that we're launching next month, hopefully within weeks, and we've been working with an outside producer. That's the biggest change that we've been finding, is that, of course, we're not in the video business, we're not in the audio business. So the number of partnerships and companies that we've been reaching out to and working with has grown tremendously in the last year. So in this particular case, we're working with a company called Web to Mobile in Toronto, and we're building this. It's basically called the Did You Know app, and the intention of it is that it's actually called Conversation Starters. So we take chunks from our books and we leverage them into this particular app, and you can read it and then have a conversation starter when you're on, sitting down to have coffee or a glass of wine with your friends. So look for that when it comes.
Pete, let's just talk about a little bit about things that you guys are doing on the consumer side at RIM. Sure. Do you just wanted to give us an overview? I mean, I know there's a lot of progression that's happening in the mobile business overall, in the platforms, and all these tablets and mobile phones sort of converging. A lot of people are spending a lot of time on mobile. How are you guys navigating that?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. I think I want to make one comment for Sabrina first, though, is having just driven in from Stratford, I think that Justin Bieber in that Old Spice campaign would really knock those numbers off the hook, right? So I'm just saying. But so Pete Watson, I'm from Blackberry, and I'm senior biz dev for doing multimedia and working with our consumer partners. And I mean, mobile is absolutely, one gentleman mentioned about technology as a revolution, and we're feeling that revolution, and it's an exciting place to be right now. Myself working with major media companies around the world to help bring their content to the BlackBerry platform, and in general just trying to help them navigate the whole sort of smartphone ecosystem. And so inside of that, and some of the things that we're doing specifically at BlackBerry is that some of you may have heard about that we have a new operating system coming, our OS 6 operating system, and it really brings some exciting new features to the platform, in particular around the browser. So I think that there's probably a lot of movement with our platform and across other smartphone platforms, and extending out to this this evolving tablet space where where the HTML5, CSS3, these kinds of new formats for a rich browser experience is something that I think you're going to see really evolve over the next couple of years. So as much as you're asking me about apps, I think that there is a lot that's really developing, happening around the whole browser space. In specific reference to applications, we've got an exciting new launch of our BlackBerry App World coming very soon. So you'll see BlackBerry App World 2.0 in the coming weeks, and it adds a lot of new features. Some of you, I assume I'm kind of like your dealer, and a bunch of you are already BlackBerry addicts. So I'm guessing that a number of you in the audience are already familiar with BlackBerry App World and the kind of very robust consumer applications that we have in there. We like to think of BlackBerry that we take it a little bit further too. Some of the other smartphone platforms can have a bit of it's a static experience. The apps are kind of locked to what the apps can do. We have something that we've kind of branded within the developer community and the media community around the concept of a super application or a super app. And super apps are really something that's a much more dynamically tied experience to the device. So these can have, push notifications. They can have, they can be dynamically linked into your calendar. They can, sort of always give you that just-in-time information. So it can have, alerts that go into your inbox. And so it's a very, very exciting opportunity and a very exciting time at BlackBerry with, the kinds of things that we're doing on the platform to really enhance the developer, experience, so that all of the major media companies and all the companies that they outsource to, and when I say major media, I mean all the three-letter acronyms that I deal with, so like BBC and CBC and ABC and so on, but also the labels and the studios and so on. And so I mean these are all the the kind of companies that are really looking to take their content, and they're looking to the developer community to get it there. So
nice.
Yeah.
Michael, let's talk about the gaming department. I mean, gaming is exploding. It's across all platforms, and yet you guys are the most resistant to sort of working with anyone. You're like, no, I'm a gamer. No, thanks. And I know we work with lots of gaming companies, and we talk to them, and they're just like, well, it's interesting what you guys are doing over there and in other platforms, but quite frankly, we're making a lot of money in gaming. We don't really need to change. Can you sort of talk, how can we come and work with you?
That's a good question. Digital Extremes has been making top-tier video games for almost 20 years. And when we first began in the 1990s, a top-tier video game would be probably less than 10 people on a budget of $200,000. Now we're making video games that are in the tens of millions of dollars. They take years to make, and they have hundreds and hundreds of people working on them. So we've seen a huge transition in the type of work that we do and the depth of work that we do. I think we're kind of used to working alone because of the nature of the work that we do. We work for years on large projects, and we basically specialize in making the content.
Is that starting to go away? I mean, I'm hearing that the console game itself is sort of shrinking, the market's shrinking, and then I'm hearing that Xbox is selling more and more. So